In the vast tapestry of the young minds, there are those that shine distinctly. The gifted. These are not just bright students, they are the rare gems of extraordinary potential. But what does it mean to be gifted? It's more than high IQ or academic excellence. It's a unique blend of curiosity, creativity, and the capacity for complex thinking. This is the heart of EI Asset Talent Search, a commitment not just to identify, but to nurture the academically gifted, to connect them with a global community of like-minded peers, and to set them on a path of lifelong learning and leadership. Here, gifted minds find their sanctuary, a place where intellectual kinship flourishes, where challenges become opportunities for growth, innovation, and transformative impact. We understand that giftedness is a journey, not a destination. It's about constantly pushing boundaries, exploring new horizons, and realizing one's full potential. EI Asset Talent Search isn't just an assessment, it's a partner in this journey towards excellence. It's a promise to each gifted child their potential will be celebrated, and their future as tomorrow's leaders and innovators will be shaped with care and expertise. Join us as we shape a generation of leaders, one gifted mind at a time. This is EI Asset Talent Search, where extraordinary minds embark on an extraordinary journey.
When I got my ATS results, I vividly remember my grandmother being there, and she was very supportive of it. Although I hadn't thought about the results too much before that because I didn't want to be disappointed when I got them, I realized that they were actually quite good because I got Gold Scholar, and I was very proud of myself, especially because my parents and my entire family was very supportive of me. Seeing the opportunities it brought, I was very excited as well.
My teacher Prabhu sir, he's absolutely amazing because he treats physics like it's something fun to enjoy and like a game. So every day when we come to class, we play with physics, we learn how to do experiments, learn about theories, and then we go back knowing a lot more and even knowing how to do a lot more in terms of experiment and how to test theories and things like that.
He gets a chance to interact with people of his own mind length, wavelength जो बोलते हैं ना कि when you go to a normal class in school, सारे बच्चे सब तरह के बच्चे आते हैं, कुछ स्पोर्ट्स में अच्छे होते हैं, कुछ एकेडमिक्स में अच्छे होते हैं, और स्कूल जब उसे टीच करती है तो जस्ट दे हैव टू बी नॉर्मल जनरल लेवल पे बात कर सकते हैं, वो बहुत हाई लेवल भी बात नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन यहाँ पे दे कैन गो बियॉन्ड द कोर्स.
Skills have improved a lot, and I have managed my frustration, my stress, my anger issues. Everything has been under control since I came here, and my patience levels have increased a lot. Like after taking up the forensics course, teamwork has been a key part to solving our cases, the crimes that we have to solve, and I feel like I learned a lot about different moral skills.
एक छोटा सा और बात बताता हूँ, like when he was here and I was with my friends and we were just having a chat and Adi called, I was outside. So मैंने बताया उनको कि he has gone to the summer program. So I also put Adi on speaker and I told them कोई अंकल से बात करो वगैरह. And Adi was very happy and excited. तो जैसे फ़ोन का यार हो गया कि यार आवाज़ में ही लग रहा है कि उसमें बहुत चेंज आ गया. Adi used to be a little bit reserved child. सोशल इंटरेक्शन में आई थिंक जो इस लेवल के प्रोग्राम आते हैं नॉर्मली सोशल इंटरेक्शन में द चाइल्ड्स आर लिटिल बिट रिजर्व.
I spoke to her, I think I was the most relieved because the smile on her face was unbelievable. Like I was waiting for her to just speak to me at 9, but she was so relaxed, so calm, and her face told me the story that she's enjoyed every moment from the time she's entered the campus.
The icing on the cake is the last night when we spoke with her, which was her last day, and she refuses to come back.
Yeah.
So that speaks volumes about the kind of care and the way the kids are taken care of over here.
These 3 weeks have arguably been some of the best weeks of my life. It's just the people I've met, the friendships I've created, the bonds I have with them now are just something truly special which can't really be replicated anywhere else.
In the vast tapestry of the young minds, there are those that shine distinctly. The gifted. These are not just bright students, they are the rare gems of extraordinary potential. But what does it mean to be gifted? It's more than high IQ or academic excellence. It's a unique blend of curiosity, creativity, and the capacity for complex thinking. This is the heart of EI Asset Talent Search. A commitment not just to identify, but to nurture the academically gifted, to connect them with a global community of like-minded peers, and to set them on a path of lifelong learning and leadership. Here, gifted minds find their sanctuary, a place where intellectual kinship flourishes, where challenges become opportunities for growth, innovation, and transformative impact. We understand that giftedness is a journey, not a destination. It's about constantly pushing boundaries, exploring new horizons, and realizing one's full potential. EI Asset Talent Search isn't just an assessment, it's a partner in this journey towards excellence. It's a promise to each gifted child their potential will be celebrated, and their future as tomorrow's leaders and innovators will be shaped with care and expertise. Join us as we shape a generation of leaders, one gifted mind at a time. This is EI Asset Talent Search, where extraordinary minds embark on an extraordinary journey.
When I got my ATS results, I vividly remember my grandmother being there, and she was very supportive of it. Although I hadn't thought about the results too much before that because I didn't want to be disappointed when I got them, I realized that they were actually quite good because I got Gold Scholar, and I was very proud of myself, especially because my parents and my entire family was very supportive of me. seeing the opportunities it brought, I was very excited as well.
My teacher, Prabhu sir, he's absolutely amazing because he treats physics like it's something fun to enjoy and like a game. So every day when we come to class, we play with physics, we learn how to do experiments, learn about theories, and then we go back knowing a lot more and even knowing how to do a lot more in terms of experiment and how to test theories and things like that.
He gets a chance to interact with people of his own mind length, wavelength जो बोलते हैं ना कि when you go to a normal class in school, सारे बच्चे सब तरह के बच्चे आते हैं, कुछ स्पोर्ट्स में अच्छे होते हैं, कुछ एकेडमिक्स में अच्छे होते हैं, और स्कूल जब उसे टीच करती है तो जस्ट दे हैव टू बी नॉर्मल जनरल लेवल पे बात कर सकते हैं, वो बहुत हाई लेवल भी बात नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन यहाँ पे दे कैन गो बियॉन्ड द कोर्स.
Teamwork skills have improved a lot, and I have managed my frustration, my stress, my anger issues. Everything has been under control since I came here, and my patience levels have increased a lot. Like after taking up the forensics course, teamwork has been a key part to solving our cases, the crimes that we have to solve, and I feel like I learned a lot about different moral skills.
एक छोटा सा और बात बताता हूँ, like when he was here and I was with my friends and we were just having a chat and Adi called, I was outside. So मैंने बताया उनको कि he had gone to the summer program. So I also put Adi on speaker and I told them कोई अंकल से बात करो वगैरह. And Adi was very happy and excited. तो जैसे फ़ोन का यार हो गया कि यार आवाज़ में ही लग रहा है कि उसमें बहुत चेंज आ गया. Adi used to be a little bit reserved child. सोशल इंटरेक्शन में आई थिंक जो इस लेवल के प्रोग्राम आते हैं नॉर्मली सोशल इंटरेक्शन में द चाइल्ड्स आर लिटिल बिट रिजर्व.
First day when I spoke to her, I think I was the most relieved because the smile on her face was unbelievable. Like I was waiting for her to just speak to me at 9. But she was so relaxed, so calm, and it just, her face told me the story that she's enjoyed every moment from the time she's entered the campus.
The icing on the cake is the last night when we spoke with her, which was her last day, and she refuses to come back.
Yeah.
So that speaks volumes about the kind of care and the way the kids are taken care of over here.
These 3 weeks have arguably been some of the best weeks of my life. It's just the people I've met, the friendships I've created, the bonds I have with them now are just something truly special which can't really be replicated anywhere else.
In the vast tapestry of the young minds, there are those that shine distinctly. The gifted. These are not just bright students, they are the rare gems of extraordinary potential. But what does it mean to be gifted? It's more than high IQ or academic excellence. It's a unique blend of curiosity, creativity, and the capacity for complex thinking. This is the heart of EI Asset Talent Search, a commitment not just to identify, but to nurture the academically gifted, to connect them with a global community of like-minded peers, and to set them on a path of lifelong learning and leadership. Here, gifted minds find their sanctuary, a place where intellectual kinship flourishes, where challenges become opportunities for growth, innovation, and transformative impact. We understand that giftedness is a journey, not a destination. It's about constantly pushing boundaries, exploring new horizons, and realizing one's full potential. EI Asset Talent Search isn't just an assessment, it's a partner in this journey towards excellence. It's a promise to each gifted child their potential will be celebrated, and their future as tomorrow's leaders and innovators will be shaped with care and expertise. Join us as we shape a generation of leaders, one gifted mind at a time. This is EI Asset Talent Search, where extraordinary minds embark on an extraordinary journey.
When I got my ATS results, I vividly remember my grandmother being there, and she was very supportive of it. Although I hadn't thought about the results too much before that because I didn't want to be disappointed when I got them, I realized that they were actually quite good because I got Gold Scholar, and I was very proud of myself, especially because my parents and my entire family was very supportive of me. Seeing the opportunities it brought, I was very excited as well.
My teacher, Prabhu sir, he's absolutely amazing because he treats physics like it's something fun to enjoy and like a game. So every day when we come to class, we play with physics, we learn how to do experiments, learn about theories, and then we go back knowing a lot more and even knowing how to do a lot more in terms of experiment and how to test theories and things like that.
He gets a chance to interact with people of his own mind length, wavelength जो बोलते हैं ना कि when you go to a normal class in school, सारे बच्चे सब तरह के बच्चे आते हैं, कुछ स्पोर्ट्स में अच्छे होते हैं, कुछ एकेडमिक्स में अच्छे होते हैं, और स्कूल जब उसे टीच करती है तो जस्ट दे हैव टू बी नॉर्मल जनरल लेवल पे बात कर सकते हैं. वो बहुत हाई लेवल भी बात नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन यहाँ पे दे कैन गो बियॉन्ड द कोर्स.
Teamwork skills have improved a lot, and I have managed my frustration, my stress, my anger issues. Everything has been under control since I came here, and my patience levels have increased a lot. Like after taking up the forensics course, teamwork has been a key part to solving our cases, the crimes that we have to solve, and I feel like I learned a lot about different moral skills.
एक छोटा सा और बात बताता हूँ. लाइक व्हेन ही वाज हियर एंड आई वाज विद माय फ्रेंड्स एंड वी वर जस्ट हैविंग अ चैट एंड आदि कॉल्ड आई वाज आउटसाइड. तो मैंने बताया उनको कि ही हैज गॉन टू द समर प्रोग्राम, सो आई आल्सो पुट आदि ऑन स्पीकर एंड आई टोल्ड देम कोई अंकल से बात करो वगैरह, एंड आदि वाज वेरी हैप्पी एंड एक्साइटेड. तो जैसे फ़ोन का यार हो कि यार आवाज़ में ही लग रहा है कि उसमें बहुत चेंज आ गया. आदि यूज्ड टू बी अ लिटिल बिट रिजर्व्ड चाइल्ड. सोशल इंटरेक्शन में आई थिंक जो इस लेवल के प्रोग्राम आते हैं, नॉर्मली सोशल इंटरेक्शन में द चाइल्ड्स आर लिटिल बिट रिजर्व्ड.
First day when I spoke to her, I think I was the most relieved because the smile on her face was unbelievable. Like I was waiting for her to just speak to me at 9, but she was so relaxed, so calm, and her face told me the story that she's enjoyed every moment from the time she's entered the campus.
The icing on the cake is the last night when we spoke with her, which was her last day, and she refuses to come back.
Yeah.
So that speaks volumes about the kind of care and the way the kids are taken care of over here.
These 3 weeks have arguably been some of the best weeks of my life. It's just the people I've met, the friendships I've created, the bonds I have with them now are just something truly special which can't really be replicated anywhere else.
In the vast tapestry of the young minds, there are those that shine distinctly. The gifted. These are not just bright students, they are the rare gems of extraordinary potential. But what does it mean to be gifted? It's more than high IQ or academic excellence. It's a unique blend of curiosity, creativity, and the capacity for complex thinking. This is the heart of EI Asset Talent Search. A commitment not just to identify, but to nurture the academically gifted, to connect them with a global community of like-minded peers, and to set them on a path of lifelong learning and leadership. Here, gifted minds find their sanctuary, a place where intellectual kinship flourishes, where challenges become opportunities for growth, innovation, and transformative impact. We understand that giftedness is a journey, not a destination. It's about constantly pushing boundaries, exploring new horizons, and realizing one's full potential. EI Asset Talent Search isn't just an assessment, it's a partner in this journey towards excellence. It's a promise to each gifted child their potential will be celebrated, and their future as tomorrow's leaders and innovators will be shaped with care and expertise. Join us as we shape a generation of leaders, one gifted mind at a time. This is EI Asset Talent Search, where extraordinary minds embark on an extraordinary journey.
When I got my ATS results, I vividly remember my grandmother being there, and she was very supportive of it. Although I hadn't thought about the results too much before that because I didn't want to be disappointed when I got them, I realized that they were actually quite good because I got Gold Scholar, and I was very proud of myself, especially because my parents and my entire family was very supportive of me. Seeing the opportunities it brought, I was very excited as well.
teacher, Prabhu sir. He's absolutely amazing because he treats physics like it's something fun to enjoy and like a game. So every day when we come to class, we play with physics, we learn how to do experiments, learn about theories, and then we go back knowing a lot more and even knowing how to do a lot more in terms of experiment and how to test theories and things like that.
He gets a chance to interact with people of his own mind length, wavelength जो बोलते हैं ना कि when you go to a normal class in school, सारे बच्चे सब तरह के बच्चे आते हैं, कुछ स्पोर्ट्स में अच्छे होते हैं, कुछ एकेडमिक्स में अच्छे होते हैं, और स्कूल जब उसे टीच करती है तो जस्ट दे हैव टू बी नॉर्मल जनरल लेवल पे बात कर सकते हैं, वो बहुत हाई लेवल भी बात नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन यहाँ पे दे कैन गो बियॉन्ड द कोर्स.
My teamwork skills have improved a lot, and I have managed my frustration, my stress, my anger issues. Everything has been under control since I came here, and my patience levels have increased a lot. Like after taking up the forensics course, teamwork has been a key part to solving our cases, the crimes that we have to solve, and I feel like I learned a lot about different moral skills.
एक छोटा सा और बात बताता हूँ, like when he was here and I was with my friends and we were just having a chat and Adi called, I was outside. So मैंने बताया उनको भाई he has gone to the summer program. So I also put Adi on speaker and I told them कोई अंकल से बात करो वगैरह. And Adi was very happy and excited. तो जैसे फोन का यार हो गया कि यार आवाज में ही लग रहा है कि उसमें बहुत
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Prakhar. I've been with educational initiatives for more than 9 years now, and I'm particularly interested in how children learn and how can we make them learn with understanding. You'll often find me at such places when there is an opportunity to either improve how we learn or to celebrate learning, and today is one of those days. I'm also very moved to see how people just seem to unlock new possibilities every time around the world. I am also interested and inspired by people who are constantly pushing their boundaries. Take a look at some of the recent headlines, and I've made a note of some of the things which I found very interesting recently. Young Indians brought home gold and silver medal from International Physics Olympiad, showcasing both talent and dedication. Then there is this chess world where India's own grandmasters are changing and reshaping the global landscape. Some of them as young as 16 to 18 years old. World is celebrating resilience and creativity with Elon Musk's SpaceX team, and it's another breakthrough in space travel. When we think of such exceptional talent, we use words like bright, intelligent, gifted. But what do these really mean? How do we recognize and nurture it? And especially when it comes and appears in so many forms and among all of us across the globe, right? So today, as part of this interaction, let's explore what means to be gifted and how the EI Asset Talent Search is helping students in India and beyond to uncover and embrace this potential. To answer these questions, I have with me Mr. Sridhar Rajgopalan, Ms. Bindu Pillai, and a special guest with us today who I'll introduce later as part of the conversation, because I am very excited about introducing my friend Sheel Mehta today. Starting with introducing of Sridhar Rajgopalan. Sridhar is an educational entrepreneur who has changed the way student learning outcomes are seen in India. He began his educational journey creating impact by co-founding and running Eklavya School in Ahmedabad, which is one of the top schools in the country. Sridhar is a member of various central and state government committees related to education, making consistent impact at the intersection of educational reform, PECTEC integration, and impact on student learning outcomes. Sridhar is the co-founder of Educational Initiatives and a mentor to all of us in his role of Chief Learning Officer. I also have my colleague, Miss Bindu Pillai, who believes anyone who stops learning, be it 20 or 80, stops learning as a whole. Bindu has been with EI for last 17 years. And Bindu, who as Associate Vice President at EI, spearheads gifted educational initiatives for us. Some ground rules before we start this journey and I start asking those pertinent questions. I know all of you will also have a lot of questions in your head. If you look at your screen, you will see something called Q&A. Feel free to type your Q&A either for the panelist or for a special guest, Sheel, and I will pick these questions and respond to those questions as part of the journey. We'll try and answer all these questions either live in the webinar or during the chat as part of the interaction. So Sridhar, I'd like to begin with you to help us unfold these layers of what does it mean to be gifted and can giftedness be identified?
Yeah. No, thanks, Prakhar. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all the participants today as well as our guest speaker. And yeah, it's always exciting to talk about giftedness and to understand it. Interestingly, it's not a concept that is been established for a lot of years in India, though internationally it has been there for a number of years. And just to get into what giftedness is and to answer your question, I'm going to share the screen and take us through some of these points. So, one way to look at it is in today's world, we know that every child is unique, right? There have been, this is like widely understood, widely believed. We know this as parents and as teachers. And yet, while every child is unique, we also see that there are some people who seem to be like not just unique, but special. And not just special, but literally in a way that they are able to change the world. And you see some of them on the screen. Most of them don't need any introduction. So the question is, what makes these people stand out and be among the select few? And that, in a sense, is probably, if we are able to answer this, we'll have a sense of what giftedness is. And frankly, all of you are here because the students who are here, the parents who are here, the students have actually got to the stage where they have cleared the first rung of what it means to actually be, and I'm not exaggerating here, is to be one of the special select few that we saw on the previous slide. Literally, every child who is here is taking the first step towards seeing whether they are able to make it to that stage. So that is what giftedness is. But what does that mean? And to understand that, let's understand this journey, because I think where we are today is a milestone. It's a very, very important milestone. It's a very few children reach this milestone, and I'll explain why and how few reach that milestone. But it's only one step. It's the first step here. And that is what you have done. The children who are here today are those who have, been qualified as being in the top 15% based on a test that you took called the EI asset test. And by doing that, the children have qualified to write the next level test, which is called the Asset Talent Search, or the ATS. That is what you're seeing as step 2 here. Now, this test happens end of November. And those who qualify this test as well, that means they come in the top 15%, they are designated as what we call asset scholars, right? So that is step 3. And even that is not the final step, because becoming an asset scholar really opens the gateways for children to attend a number of programs where they get to interact with other such children and they get to do such courses that are challenging, teaching them something new and really way beyond what they would do in the regular class. And there are a lot of programs, a lot of colleges across the world that recognize and understand giftedness. And frankly, they're just waiting to identify and get such students. So anyone who kind of goes through this route, who has done this gifted program, then gets opportunities to attend those courses. So it's a long route ahead, but it kind of opens a lot of doors. And that is what giftedness is. And like I mentioned, we are here right now, we are kind of at step 2 in this journey, which kind of goes on till step 4 and way beyond that. So let's to understand this, let's to give you an idea of what this means, how this works. The first step is that one has to be eligible to go to reach step 2. And that's what you're seeing below, especially in this diagram. You can see that the first step, you have to qualify to be eligible to take this test, and that is what has already been done. All of the students who are here are in the top 15 percentile of the EI asset test. And now the entire process that is going on till the end of November and early December is the stage where you are taking the asset talent search. And we'll tell you a lot more about what the asset talent search is. But basically, you register, you go through that process, you take a test end of this month, the results are announced. And after that, starting next summer, starting in May 2025, is when you go through the next, in my opinion, the most exciting part of this journey, which is the gifted workshop. So this is the flow which starts with eligibility, actual identification, and then doing the actual gifted program. So this is the journey that we are going to be talking about today, and I'm going to explain each of these steps. My colleague Bindu will explain, Sheel will talk about the experience that has been there. And one thing that I wanted to mention right away is that a special offer has been made because there is a lot of focus. Some of you may be aware that the national education policy also talks about giftedness and identifying giftedness. So there's a lot of focus. There are a lot of partners who are keen on identifying gifted children. So some of them, so we have been doing this for the last 14 years. EI has been doing this in partnership with various US universities, and I'll talk about that. But some of these partners have basically allowed us to give this kind of a very amazing offer, which is that students who are in the top 20 for the gifted program actually get a 100% fee waiver. The fee of a 3-week residential course, it's a residential course, is quite high. It's 2 lakh rupees. And the top 20 students get a complete waiver from this fee, and the next 50%, the next 30 students, sorry, get a 50% fee waiver. So I wanted to mention this upfront because some people say that, we always explain to parents that this fee is a very small price for what your child is going to get exposed to. But a number of partners who are very particular that we should be able to identify and encourage giftedness in India have come ahead, and we are therefore able to offer these kind of strong support for 20 plus 30 students. There are 50 more merit cum means awards. So there are a lot of awards that are open for students who perform well and are joining the gifted program. Now, I've said all this, but what does gifted really mean? And is it correct? We said that every child is unique, but we also said that there's an Einstein and a Sundar Pichai and Elon Musk. So what exactly distinguishes these people? And that's what I'm going to show you through an example. I don't know if some of you have heard of Judith Polgar. Judith Polgar is famous because she's considered the world's best woman chess player. But it's much more than that. If you really look at her achievements, there are so many of them. I'm not even going to read all of them. But some of them are that she was the youngest ever grandmaster. She beat a number of world champions, including Gary Kasparov and Anatoly Karpov. She was the youngest player to get into the top 100 in the FIDE ratings, and so on and so forth. And you will see here a picture of Judith. Judith is the girl right on the left, along with her family. And her story is a very interesting story about giftedness, and that's why I'm sharing it here. And while Judith's story is like remarkable and her achievements are remarkable, the story behind Judith and the story of her father, whose name is Laszlo Polgar, is in a way even more amazing and surprising. And I'm going to tell you that story now. Now, Laszlo Polgar was not a chess player, neither was his wife. He was an education psychologist, and his belief was that geniuses are made, not born. He basically said that if you give me any healthy child, I can train this child and support this child and make him or her into a prodigy. And believe it or not, he actually put an ad saying, I have this belief, And is there a woman who is willing to marry me and help us prove this? And again, probably even more surprising, Clara, who's the Ukrainian teacher, she actually responded. She married him, and they had three daughters, Suza, Sophia, and Judith. Right? Now, what did the parents do? They said that we are going to make these people, we're going to make these children chess players, and we believe we can make them chess world champions. Now, this was unusual because they were not chess experts themselves. But they did it because they said that, world championships are very well known in chess. And they homeschooled the children. So they basically taught them at school. They taught them a lot of chess, but they also taught them a number of languages and high level math. In fact, you can see online a number of interviews by all three of them, all three of them who still play chess. And what happened? Judith Polgar became who's considered the best female chess player ever. And Susa Polgar, the other sister, also became the women's world chess champion. And even the third sister, who did not become a world chess champion, became a very, very good chess player. So I find the story fascinating that, a parent decides and then focuses on this. And some people may think that, oh, how difficult it is on the children. But like I said, there are a lot of interviews and articles by the students and the parents who's also written a book about it. And these children say we really enjoyed our childhood because we were doing something that we really enjoyed. So that gives you a sense of giftedness, but it's not only about a world chess champion in Ukraine or some other country, because there are many such success stories that we are seeing here. Like I said, India does not have a systematic program where we are identifying such children. But in the last 13, 14 years, in a small way, that we at EI, through the asset and the asset talent search, have been doing this, we have a whole range of such children. One of the examples is Yamini Prashant. So Yamini was an ATS scholar in 2014, right? And she did at that time Duke TIP, which is the one of the leading universities in the world and offers this. TIP stands for Talent Identification Program. She attended the program in the Duke TIP program, a similar 3-week kind of program like the gifted program I talked about in India. And she did a program on genetics. She was already interested in business. And based on this course on genetics, she said, I am fascinated by both these ideas. And she went on to study from Singapore, Singapore's top technological university, a course in business and bioengineering. So she actually combined her two interests. And this is something we see very often when children do such a course in the gifted workshop, that becomes an interest for them for life. So there are many such cases, and you will have an option to interact with Sheel, of course, today, but others through our website. Now, one of the most important things is to identify gifted children carefully. And that is where right now we're in the midst of that identification process. By the way, many pictures like this that I'm showing you in this presentation are from the actual summer workshops or the gifted workshops that happen and these children go to. But what are some of these tips on identifying gifted children? By the way, there's an article here, and we will share this link on the chat also. This is from Nature, and this article it's a long article, it's almost 15 pages, and it talks about the experience and the research on giftedness. So this is something that I think all parents of gifted children would be interested in. So please have a look if you're interested. What do we find? What is the learning about how do you identify giftedness? Basically, there are 4 or 5 points. The first is that you have to catch the children at the right age. And we'll talk about this in the next slide. The second is that giftedness can be in any subject. It need not only be in the school subjects, but because we are identifying for a large number of children, we are focusing on the subjects that children learn. But you can be gifted in language and you need not be strong in maths, that's fine. So we do not combine the marks, but you look at the performance in an individual subject. The third is that you cannot use a school test or a recall based test, but you have to use a high quality test that tests thinking and understanding. And as you must be aware, asset is a test like that. The fourth is very interesting and probably the most important thing that people have learned in the last few years, that the children, for identifying giftedness, should be given an assessment, given a test, which is 2 levels above their class level. So a child who's in class 7 will actually get a class 9 test, and a child who's able to do well in that test is the one who is identified as giftedness. And the last point, which I mentioned earlier also, is that you look at top performance at a subject level. That means that if you're in the top of English or maths or science or some other subject, you qualify. You don't have to be in the top overall. So these principles are what is now understood all over the world. Incidentally, there are programs in the US that have been doing this for 40 years. And we'll talk a bit about those because many of them are partners with this program. So the students actually can go there for the workshops. Now, I mentioned that the age range, the middle school years, is very, very critical. It's called a narrow window of opportunity. And basically, the selection or the identification of giftedness should happen roughly between the grades of 4th and 8th, whereas the workshops can happen from 7th onwards. So while we have a junior batch for the workshops also, the real gifted workshops are the ones that happen from class 7 onwards. And why do we have this age range? We have the age range because if children are younger than grade 4, they do not really, you've not identified the differences in children that can be used to identify giftedness. And if they are older, not only do they get involved in their own further studies and the board exams and so on all over the world, but when you catch them young and you give them exposure both to the courses as well to the other students and the peer group, the kind of impact it has on them is much higher up to a certain age. And that is why the first gifted workshop should be done when the child is in grade 7 or 8 or at most 9. So the identification at grades 4 to 6, which is also done, should be treated as a kind of an early identification. But the real identification is when children are in grade 7 and 8. So some people, when we say all this, when we say that the grade 7 children are going to do a grade 9 test or a grade 9 child, a grade 10, 8 child will do a grade 10 test, a very common question is, but how will they be able to do it? Because between grade 7 and grade 9, there are so many concepts that they have not learned at all. But, again, we are underestimating the ability of these children. And that's what this graph shows. This is actual data. And as I told you, EI has been doing this since 2010. So this is an early study we did in 2015, where we basically found that the blue lines represent the class 9 and 10 students, whereas the red lines represent the class 7 students. And you find that in every single paper combination, the class 7 students are doing, the top class 7 students, the top 15%, are doing much better than the class 9 students. So this basically tells us that it's not that the children in class 7, that the ability of these gifted children to do something is extremely high. Yeah. One more slide that I want to mention here, which is that giftedness is not just about ability, right? There was a researcher called Renzulli, and Renzulli actually said that there are these 3 rings, and it's the overlap of these 3 rings that constitutes giftedness. But what are the 3 rings? One of them definitely is ability, right? These children are exceptionally strong and exceptionally able. But these other 2 factors are equally important. One of them is creativity. You don't become a gifted child by saying that, I'm going to memorize the whole textbook. I'm going to work 20 hours a day. I will just focus on my school textbooks and maximize marks. No. Creativity, coming up with new ideas, thinking of new things, making new connections is a very, very important characteristic. But the third one is even more interesting. And frankly, that's why these workshops are held. The third one is called task commitment. Task commitment means that am I able to persevere? Am I able to stick to a task that I'm working on, even if I have initial setbacks and so on? And that is why we say that task commitment is nurtured when you work on a difficult problem, often with a team of people. It is not nurtured if you say, okay, here's a tough problem, you have to work for half an hour and solve it. And you try it and then you say, okay, I did it, or you are not able to do it. No. But if you're trying to work on a problem over a period of time and then you have setbacks, somebody else comes up with an idea, that characteristic is equally important. And all of these can be nurtured. And that is why giftedness has to be both identified and nurtured. And just the last thing I wanted to say at this point, that for the last 14 years we have been doing this. We have over 1,000 students who have done the actual programs. I'm not talking about the asset talent search test that has been done by far more students, but 1,000 students who have actually gone through the gifted workshops, attended one of these 125 courses. And we partner with some of the top universities across the world, which means that students who qualify through the asset talent search get an opportunity straight away to attend one of these programs. So this is what giftedness is, and this is the whole process of identifying gifted children that I wanted to share with you.
Thank you so much, Sheel. In fact, the story of Judith Polgar is so awe-inspiring. And looking at how far I'm sitting from the fan today, I realized I have missed the bus definitely. But on a more serious note, I also understand how you are emphasizing that right time and right ecosystem can be an important fulcrum for both potential and possibilities for a child. Before I move to Sheel Shidhar, I have one question which I received from a parent who is asking how many students on an average qualify, how big is the sample size? Do we end up making every child qualify for asset talent search?
Very good question, Prakhar, and I think we should spend some time on this. So you see, the moment we say percentile means it is a certain percentage of the total number of students, right? So just let's understand the percentile piece. We said that the top 15 percentile qualify. That literally means that if there are 100 students who take the asset test, only 15 qualify. And how many students take the asset test? It's about 4 lakh students, 400,000 students who take the test all over India, Middle East, and in some other countries. So, of course, that is from classes 3 to 10, and here we are talking of classes 4 to 8, so it's a smaller number. But you should understand that of the any 100 students who take a test, if you look at for example, if your child has got this letter, just talk to the friends in your class. Literally in any school, if there are 100 students there, 15 would get that offer. If the school is very good, then maybe 20 will get the offer. If the school is not so good, maybe 10 will get the offer. But it's going to be around 15. So it's already a very exclusive group. And then once you write this test, only the top 15 of those 15 will get it, which is literally 2.25%. That means out of a group of 100 students, 2 of them actually make it. And that is obvious when you see the course and the pictures I showed you in the beginning of the thing. I'm not exaggerating when I say that, for example, the founders of Google, right, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, these were actually people who were selected in a same kind of gifted program by Johns Hopkins University using the same formula. That is, they were in the top 2%. So yes, this is a very few students by a very scientific method. And that is actually the process that is.
This is actually incredible. We are saying on a large sample size of almost 4 lakh students, we have roughly 20,000 students who are invited to take asset talent search. It's a pretty small number. In fact, that gives me my next lead to the conversation, which I'm excited about because we have somebody who has been part of this cohort and this much. Welcome, Sheel.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me be here.
So let me introduce Sheel to everyone. Sheel is based out of Ahmedabad. He's currently studying at Ahmedabad International School in class 9. Sheel has been consistently taking asset, has qualified asset talent search, has been part of this coveted group or cohort which we are talking about, asset talent search, and also has been part of 2 summer programs. I think you were also in the summer program 2024 and your course happened around artificial intelligence. Am I right, Sheel?
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Sheel is also driven by his fascinations with robotics and AI. I think that's why we are talking about the previous course. By the way, congratulations, Sheel. You and your team is representing India in the World Robotics Olympiad with the finals happening in Turkey on November 27.
Yeah. Thank you for.
How does it feel to be part of such a final representing India at the World Robotics Olympiad?
I don't think we expected this to happen. When we went to GenWise, the gifted program in May, it was only like an idea. It was like we were hoping we had started. But as we continued through first the state levels and the national levels, It was really interesting. Like we got to go deep into robotics and our robot specifically, and I think that helped us get through regionals and the state levels and the national levels. And I mean, we're excited and prepping hard for internationals.
Congratulations and good luck for your upcoming. I'm sure you will do well and have a lot of fun there. She'll taking you back to the summer program.
Yeah.
What are the some of the memorable experiences and memories you have from there? Some interesting projects you remember?
Yeah, so we, as part of the AI course this year in the summer of 2024, because I was part of the robotics thing, I decided to integrate AI and robotics, where I basically took a microcontroller and a camera. And what I did was the camera would recognize fingers. So one finger up, two fingers up, three fingers up. And based on that, it would activate a circuit. So if it was one circuit, one finger, it would activate, say, an LED. If it were two fingers, it would activate a fan. And the idea was to simulate a house where you have where you don't need to get up and turn on and off switches. You can just have a camera and then show the number of fingers to the camera, and it would turn on and off, lock doors, and as you wanted to do.
With someone like me who struggles with the biometric every day at my office, this sounds very fancy but very exciting.
It was a small scale model, but yeah, I mean, it was really fun to make and it was really fun to go through and see it.
Also, from a school setting to a summer program, how is it different? And did your perspective on learning change? How is the learning different?
So one thing I really liked at the gifted program was it was a small batch size. Like my AI class had only around 13 people in it. In 2023, I took economics, and in the third week we were doing public policy, where there were only like 4 students. And so a really small learning size actually, I think, really benefited me compared to my school where there are 30 people in a class, 25 people in a class. So I really appreciate that part of the gifted program, because it allowed like me to work with the instructor a lot more, and I think we were able to go in a lot more depth, especially because we were doing one subject through 3 weeks.
Sheel, a lot of school principals, teachers, and a lot of students who take asset talent search and prepare ask me, is there a way to prepare? How do I start looking at something like asset talent search?
So I think the idea is you have to, for the acid test itself, my school gave me a lot of good strategies, and on top of that, my dad also believes, and I think I agree with him, that for science papers it's better to be really practical. For example, I'm sure there is merit to, for example, going through textbooks, going through reference books, but also, for example, practically running experiments, or even just doing stuff like house chores or working with people who do things like practically. That knowledge can help in your science paper. From in English, it's really good to read quite a bit. In Hindi, for me, it was a read through complicated or complex texts. My school textbook, I think, was at the right level for me. And then for asset talent search, they are slightly trickier questions. So I think it is that you keep doing what you do for the regular asset test, and on top of that, you now start to go through more advanced material. Advanced in something maybe like 1 or 2 grade levels, I think, as discussed earlier. That was, I think, something that really helped me.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. So just curious, what are you currently reading and what do you enjoy reading?
So I really love the Harry Potter series. I've taken that up, and after taking the 2020 the gifted program in 2023, I started reading up a lot more on economics, policy. So a mix of those three. When it comes to fiction, it's Harry Potter and mystery books, and nonfiction, it's economics, policy.
Lovely. Before I move to the last question, and I'll eventually come to you again, Sheel. I have one personal very question. If given a choice, what will you pick? Harry Potter movie or Harry Potter book?
I prefer the book, because when I went through the movie, they omitted certain details. Plus the book, like I came across it a lot later, but someone on YouTube had done a very thorough analysis of some really small things that I think J.K. Rowling put in the books that a lot of people missed. And I don't think the movies, just because if you put them in the movies, it would become really long. They had to omit them, miss them out. So I think the books are just better that way.
Lovely. So did you make your some new friends in the camp? Are you still in touch? How are they helping you?
Yeah, so over 2 years, I made quite a lot of friends, both in my course and both on the people who had rooms like on my floor. Those were places where I naturally got into conversation, and that conversation sort of continued across the entire 21 days. And so that was really interesting. And even after that, we all kept in touch. We have an entire WhatsApp group of people who were in this course, and we have a WhatsApp group of people who are in previous courses, including instructors. So on and off, probably even right now, I'm sure there's a message from one of the instructors who found something really, really interesting, or have a really interesting challenge problem that they've sent on our WhatsApp group. So that's probably the first thing I'm going to do after this review ends. Go up, see what they've sent.
That sounds exciting, Sheel. Thank you so much. And good luck for your upcoming finals in Turkey.
Thank you so much. And thank you for inviting me and letting me speak here.
Sridhar, I'd like to once again come back to you. And I'm now very excited about how this journey happens at the summer programs. And we all know that every Einstein needs an Eddington, every Franz Kafka needs a Max Brod, or every Daku Anguli Mar, I read the story back in school, needs a Gautam Buddha. So while we are talking of a scientific way of identifying gifted students, we need some support and nurturing. What are these programs like? How does EI support this nurturing?
Yes. Yeah, thank you. I think now that Sheel has excited all of us by describing the summer program in good detail, let me tell you, formally about what the summer program is. And I'll also show you a small video, but just to continue from where I left off. The summer programs are, so there are two things. One is that there are a number of gifted programs across the world, and we partner with the top programs in the world, which are in the US right now. Many of you may have heard of Johns Hopkins University. They have something called the Center for Talented Youth. They are the ones who pioneered gifted education 40 years ago, and they accept any student who qualifies from the ATS straight into their gifted program. In fact, they accept asset scores for admission to the university and so on. So Johns Hopkins, Purdue, Northwestern, University of California at Berkeley, and a few others. There's a program called the Summer Institute for Gifted. So these four, the first, second, third, the fourth, fifth, and sixth are US programs. Most of them are US universities which offer the top gifted programs. GenWise is an Indian company which is a pioneer of giftedness in this part of the world, doing these kind of programs again for, more than 7-8 years. And actually, the people in GenWise were running the Asset Summer program even before that. So they have more than 10 years of experience with gifted programs. Now, the names you see below you, below the list of universities, are the names of the courses that are there. So you have a junior group and a senior group. The junior group is for children in classes 5 and 6, and the senior group are 7 and 8. Now, what you're seeing here is the senior group courses. The junior groups do a slightly different format where they all do a common course, and that's 2 weeks. But the senior group does 3 weeks, and they have interesting courses like this. I mean, the math behind Google Maps and Amazon delivery, being a reader, becoming a writer, cognitive psychology. So one interesting thing you'll see here is that it caters to different topics that children are interested in. Some of them are arts related, economics, writing, decoding our world, and so on. Some of them are engineering related, like aero modeling. There's one on climate change here. There are a few on economics. There is a lot of technology. There's physics. There's a very interesting course I saw this time on Introduction to Engineering Design via Bicycles, and so on. So these are 3-week courses that students do, and it's really a fascinating experience. Now, what is important to know, and that's what you are seeing in these pictures here, is that it's not all study, right? They are doing amazing things. Sheel talked about the AI robot that he built. People are building bridges. They're actually making things work. They make planes that fly, model planes that fly, and so on. but there's a lot of fun also. And the reason behind this fun is really this, learning to be in a group, learning to live with peers, work together, develop social skills and maturity. So this is it's also of course fun. The children have a lot of fun. But in fact, there are a lot of parents who tell us that they learned at least as much from that part as from the academics that was taught. And I'm going to play a small video where you can actually see a sample of this and get an idea of it.
I was really excited when I got Gold Scholar. I came to this camp and now I'm learning how to live by myself. So this is really helping me.
GenWise helps you become more self-sufficient. I think that the camp is very good and well planned.
Before coming to this camp, I did not even know how to connect batteries. And basically, I was a clueless little kid. So coming to this camp has made me strengthen my knowledge and broaden it.
I used to be very shy. Being in GenWise, being part of your friends as a whole, as a family, it made me come out more often.
Take the test, do your best, and see what happens in the end.
Yeah, and just the last slide on this, because I thought this was really, really interesting. I think there was a parent who put this much better than what we could have put. So he said that the technical quality and learning was very good, and but even more than that, the gifted program enabled something very interesting and valuable to a child's growth. And he mentioned all these points. He said first and foremost they had to choose a course for themselves. Neither forced them to take something, nor was somebody telling them, no, do this, do that. They had to choose. They had to read, understand, choose. The second, they were in a new environment. Maybe some of them had a few friends because they were in the same school, but most of them were from all over the country. Some students who come from the Gulf and so on. So limited prior friendships. You are in a new place, with new students, no cliques, no enemies. This is what he said. Restricted device environment. A lot of parents love this. Like you're not using the mobile for most of the day. You are given it for sometime in the evening, but most of the time you are interacting physically and physically active with other children. No exams. You're not doing a course to score the most marks. You're going deep. You are learning something new and you're trying to make, like Sheel said, an AI robot that works, or a bridge that stands and takes a certain weight, or a report that you are presenting to people if you are in the UN. So various kinds of real things that you have to do. You're learning from passionate experts. These are not teachers who are there as a job, but these are experts who are just absolutely themselves passionate to deal with bright children. No performance pressure, no judging. And the parents said, you're not at home, so there's no chance for parents to get in the way. So this is the perspective of the gifted program. And just to remind you, the children who qualify through the asset talent search, those who are in the top 15% are the ones who get invited to join the gifted program.
That sounds very interesting. I'll pick one question from the audience, and I think it will be best answered by Sheel himself. And the question, and I'll understand where this question is coming from, and it makes a lot of sense. Sheel, one of our audience member is asking, categorizing kids as gifted is definitely good and it makes them happy. But I want to understand if it will overwhelm them in long run. Maybe it will lead to burnout faster. How was your experience? Was it very painstaking?
It actually wasn't, because asset was when I at school. My school is very the way they did it. They were very sure about the fact that asset is not something you have to stress about. It is something that you should enjoy taking. Like, we will help you, and we know that you will enjoy taking it. Same goes with ATS. It was actually, I took ATS during the pandemic, so I took it online. But even there, like, it was still not like the most. It was not like a really stressful thing. And then I think categorizing as gifted, like, my parents never put like pressure on me, and I think that's something that helped. And then when I went to the GenWise program, I like what I just enjoyed was talking to people, and I mean I feel like regardless of the classification or not, like it's still really interesting the people you meet at the Gen program. Like they're really fun to talk to, and they're also like really knowledgeable in their own field. And even students often have really interesting talents. Like people are really deep in to piano, people are really deep into dance or theater, and you can see that and you can talk about that. So it's really like interesting, and it's not actually stressful when you go through the process.
Yeah, thanks, Sheel. I now have FOMO for this interesting ideal learning place.
Prakhar, I want to add to what Sheel said, if I can. So
Please.
I think this is a very good point, and I also think that the whole purpose of the non-academic program is to address exactly this point. So like it's really interesting. Yes, you're classifying these children as talented, you're calling them to this program, but one of the things the children find is that earlier I was in a class where I was the topper. Now I'm in a class where I'm finding that every child is gifted in their own way. So that is one. It actually both, I would say, reduces your sense of, oh, look, I am this topper who has to perform kind of a thing. Secondly, this whole process of working in a team to achieve a goal and that emphasis on persistence, because you're doing one course over 3 weeks and that course has a goal. It's not like a random theoretical course with a test or something. That also makes it a real life challenge that you're trying to solve rather than, I have to achieve this. So, in a way, the whole point of this 3 week program is to take such children who may otherwise have this kind of pressure, but to kind of channel that in a positive way where they feel that, yes, I have a strength and I should use the strength in a larger cause in a way that makes a difference. So, I think the whole point of the non academic part really is to build that kind of maturity in children.
Thank you, Sridhar. One more question which I have in my mind while we're talking about children who qualify for ATS and they take ATS, and I understand how it's important to nurture them. But what if I don't qualify for ATS? What happens to this community?
So that's a good question, Prakhar. So let me just check whether I will also kind of show you some details on that. Let me again share my screen. Just give me a moment. Yeah, this is a great question. And in fact, again, Sheel had mentioned this. Sorry, I'll just. Yeah, this is the slide I wanted to show you. Yeah, so what EI's goal in doing this for the last 14, 15 years has been to support the gifted community. And gifted community is not only the gifted children, but also the parents, the teachers, and schools. Because frankly, all of these people, and it's really challenging when you have a child who's very gifted. Like it's difficult to find resources, they get bored of class, and so on. So, Gifted World is a community, it's a website. The basic course is actually the basic site is actually free and anyone can join. So frankly, all the students who qualified for ATS, can join this. And there are a lot of material and courses here that the children get access to. This includes fortnightly challenge, blogs, and so on. The students who don't qualify for the Asset Summer program, they actually get special discounts in courses that are offered on Gifted World. So anyone can take the course, but the students who have not qualified but who have taken the ATS, they get a special discount. And for example, there are many such courses, but GenWise, who does this, has actually shared that 5 of the courses between Jan and April 2025, that alone, is worth much more than the price that people are paying for the ATS itself, which is about 2,500 rupees. And there are various challenges. She talked about the WhatsApp group. So all of this is available even for students who don't qualify. And of course, for those who qualify, you have the summer program itself.
Thank you so much, Sridhar. Bindu, I'll now like to come to you because I'm excited about how we are identifying through ATS and how we are nurturing them. But how does the journey look like? What is the call to action from a parent side? If you can talk.
Thank you. Thank you. I will speak about what next for students after qualifying for ATS. Should I share the screen or?
No, just start.
Because Bindu, I think this is one of the most important aspect. कि आखिर करना क्या है? How do I start?
Correct. And most of you who have joined also will be having this query. So this is our official website, ATS as a talent search website for parents, for schools and students. On the website, you can see that you will get information about our partners, international as well as India partners, John Hopkins, Northwestern University, SIG, UC Berkeley. You can also download the ATS qualifying certificate from the website. There is also an FAQ section on the site where you will get a lot of your queries get answered. So you can go through them. And this is the website address, ats.ei.study. And you can register online through the website. This is a registration link. So I request all the parents, you can, because we have more details about our partners and everything on the website. So it will give you clear idea about what are the benefits of taking the test and which are the universities and what are the courses available for that. So please visit this website for registration and to get more other details. So if we talk about ATS in a nutshell, it's a higher level test. Higher level means it's an above level test where students will be tested 2 level above their current grade. It's a computer-based test, and the test format is similar to the asset test, where you have 1 question and 4 options. This test can be taken from any part of the world because it's an online proctor test. When I say online proctor test, students will be monitored by an invigilator from a different location, and that's the reason we need a laptop or a desktop to take this test. The test is for test understanding and critical thinking. It's a no preparation test, and we don't recommend students preparing 1 day or prior to this test. There will be no negative markings. The test will include 3 subjects, English, Maths, and Science, and each subject duration is of 60 minutes. Test dates are 28th to 30th November. You have 3 dates, 3 subjects to be completed during the time window. Once you start the subject, you will have to complete it. You can't continue to the next day. However, you can take break between each subject test. The only condition is that you have to finish all 3 subject tests before 30th of November. On the screen, you can also see the number of questions available for each subject, and this may vary for each grades. The criteria, it's like Sridhar must have mentioned that it's an invite-only test. Students who score in the top 15 percentile, that means if a student score 85 percentile, either in English, Maths, in the asset test are invited for ATS test. So this is very important. If you want to register for the test, you can either register through the school or you can register individually by visiting the website. The test dates are 28th to 30th November. We have 3 dates. One is early registration date, closing date, that is 10th of November, which is tomorrow, where you get an option to select the subjects of your choice while registering, and the fees for it varies from 1,700 to 2,700. 1,700 is for 1 subject if you want to register for 1 subject, and for 2 subjects it is 2,200, and if you want to register for 3 subjects it's 2,500. The regular registration closes on 22nd November. That means after 10th, the registration fees will be 2,700, and 3 subjects will be compulsory. So this is very important when I talk about early bird registration, which closes tomorrow. So it's better if you want to appear for 1 subject or 2 subjects, you register before 10th of November, because after 10th of November, you can still register. The last date to register is 27th of November, but you will not get an option to select the subjects of your choice, but you will have to compulsory register for all 3 subjects. Okay, so all the students who qualify for ATS, we are providing them this ATS qualifying certificate, which you can download it from the website. Like when I spoke about the website, you have seen that ATS download certificate, you can download it from that. you need your asset PAN number to download this certificate. So if you don't have the PAN number, you can check your PAN number in the invite letter, which you must have received from the school. Or you can also check your PAN number on the student my book, which is your asset report card. There's a QR code mentioned on the screen from where you can also download the certificate. So this is very important. Like I said, it's a proctor test. So proctor test you can take from home. To take the test, you need a laptop or a desktop with a working web camera and a good internet speed. Please note that you cannot take this test on an iPad or a mobile because both these devices doesn't support the testing software. So please ensure that you have a laptop or a desktop to take the test. So from 15th November till 27th November, you will get a mock test. Basically, this mock test is to check your device compatibility. So there will be no negative marking or no scores will be given for this mock test. And there will be hardly 5 to 10 questions. Basically, this test is to see whether your device is compatible with the testing software, and there are no surprises on the test day. So I request you will receive all the information related to the mock test on 14th of November and go through the instruction given in the email. And I request each one of you who have registered to take this mock test before the actual test, which is starting on 28th of November, so that you know that you are ready with your devices for the test. So topping the asset talent search test itself is an achievement, and to recognize and reward children for their hard work, we are also giving them some prizes. The first prize is iPad, and each class toppers will get, the first rank holder will get an iPad. Similarly, we have second prizes, which is Apple Watch and tablet, and these prices are different for different classes. Third prize we have a Kindle and Apple iPod, AirPod. And all the students who are participating in the asset talent search test will be getting a participation certificate. Children who are scoring the top 15 percentile in the ATS test, they get special certificate like gold scholar certificate, silver scholar certificate, and bronze scholar certificate, as well as they get medals like gold, silver, and bronze. Children who are scoring between 85 to 89 percentile, they get bronze medal and bronze scholar certificate. Children who are scoring 95 to 94 percentile, they get silver medal and silver scholar certificate. And children who are scoring more than 95 percentile are awarded with gold, silver, gold certificate and gold medal.
Thank you so much, Bindu. I think this conversation is at the heart of what we do because it talks about the execution. Sridhar, I'd like to come to you for one more question, which is coming from a parent. And they are saying they understand children take asset only by invitation. The top 15 percentile students in India and outside India are invited to take asset talent search, which opens gateway to Gifted India Network and different summer programs. But we have been saying that it's a 2-level higher test. Do I need to prepare? Because we have not studied that subject. I need a coaching. How does it look like?
Yeah, thanks. That's a good question, Prakhar. So the first point to understand is that the reason ATS is an invite-only test is that if you opened ATS to every child, many of them would struggle. But because these children are already in the top 15%, like I showed you the data, they are capable of doing this higher level test. Not only are they capable, I showed you the data that they actually perform better than the average student who is 2 class higher. So absolutely don't. I'll tell you one other interesting or a funny story that when these students come to a course and they are doing a course on aero modeling, and they have to build an airplane, you use a lot of trigonometry to build an airplane. They have to calculate some sine theta and cos theta and all that. And these children in class 7 and 8 have not even heard of trigonometry, or they've definitely not done trigonometry. So do you know what happens? They actually complete the trigonometry that they need to build the aero modeling thing in 2 or 3 days. The first 2 or 3 days they do the trigonometry. Now, do you think that the average class 7 or the class 8 child can, complete trigonometry and use it to build a model in 2 or 3 days or even 2 or 3 weeks? No, it's considered a very difficult topic. So because of the inherent ability of these children, they are able to manage this. So you don't have to start learning trigonometry to write the class 9 test. I'm just doubly clarifying. the ability of these children and the core understanding that they have ensures that even if on a 40 question test they do not know topics related to 8 marks, remember all the other children are also from that same class. They still know the concepts that well that they are able to qualify and do well. So again, we repeat, we say this for ASSET, we say this for ATS, no special preparation, don't do anything extra. Just, if at all, I think Sheel put it best, just read, read topics of interest, go deep if it is science, like kind of understand the practical thing. Do things that are of your interest, read up on the topics, don't prepare specially for it. That is more than enough. That has been the experience of the winners, the students who've done well for the last 13, 14 years.
Thanks, Sridhar. I will move to Sheel and come back to you for one more question, because I wanted Sheel's perspective again. Although Sheel spoke about that, you just go and read more and you'll do better at ASSET English and ATS English. You do more of experimentation, Sheel, in science that you were talking about, and even household chores you are saying, and you'll end up doing better in ASSET Talent Search. Can you think of some example of something and you did at home and you realized, hey, this is how I understood it?
So one thing I saw that my sister is taking Asset Talent Search. She's in grade 4. She's taking the Asset Talent Search on November 28th. And this is something I saw, this is a discussion I overheard with her and my dad. They were discussing a question on boiling versus steaming, and it was related to the mass of a potato. I think it was something like that. And he actually said, look, we went through the paper and you didn't get this. They went through that entire demonstration, like steaming and boiling a potato, and they actually saw, like he showed my sister that this is exactly what happened. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Why did it happen? And then he said, like, this is how you answer similar questions. One, by just like understanding how this specific process works, and then you go through things related to cooking or things related to things like related to food, and say this happens to different food items in different conditions. Great, now you have like a set of like a database of knowledge that you can use outside of the ATS and during the ATS. So that was, I think, something that he said. And one other thing sort of I realized is the ASSET questions and the ASSET Talent Search questions are fairly practical questions. They, for science, like I said, they're actual practical questions related to this. Even during the test, there are certain questions that they say you can try out this experiment after the test. Like there are very specific questions marked that say you can do this. Math questions are often based on scenarios that are actually practical, or on diagrams that you need to know how to read, which are like often like maps, which are again things we use even outside of exam conditions. The English and Hindi tests are based on reading comprehension of paragraphs that are like either about real things or from real sources, often informational. So a lot of the test is dedicated to things that you would use outside of a testing environment, which is why I think, and my dad and my sister all go by the idea that the best way to prepare for both the tests is to do things that you would also normally do for scenarios outside of a testing environment. So yeah, that is
Lovely. Thank you so much for articulating it so well. And I think it can come only from somebody who has been experiencing it. It's like listening to a practitioner. Thank you so much, Sheel. Either in my personal, I'm very tempted to ask this question. I know it's 12:01, but I'll take quick 2-3 minutes and ask you one last question. I also like the point when you are looking at this Ranjali circle and you are talking about task commitment. You have qualified yourself for 2 of the India's toughest exams, both IIT and IIM. So how do you think task commitment and something like this gets as a habit built in courses like this?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think it's about knowing that difficult problems. If you can solve a problem very easily, then it's probably not a difficult problem. It did not challenge you. One common characteristic, in ASSET, in preparation, in ATS, in the example Sheel took, which we also believe a lot in creating these assessments, is this idea of interesting and fun and real life. Right, like, is it interesting? So you're understanding what is steaming a potato, boiling a potato, you're understanding how to do this. there's an element of something which is very interesting. There's a real life problem you're trying to solve. So all real life problems also tend to have this. They are a little difficult to solve. They will not just get solved because okay, you tried it and this worked. So I think it's in persisting with the problem. The second thing, of course, is working in a group, which is a big thing that happens in a workshop, in a program like this. You realize that somebody else, I am stuck here, but somebody else had a very good idea here. And then I built on that idea. If you go back and ask the group whose idea was it, they can't answer that. They say, A suggested this, but then B modified it like this. And that is also task commitment. And again, it's fun because while you are having this problem that is troubling you, you're also working together with people, and that process is enjoyable. So I think these are the ways in which task commitment gets built up. And when you look at it as not an exam you're trying to crack, but a genuine problem you're trying to solve.
Thank you, Sridhar. I'll summarize with one of the question. In fact, what somebody is asking, what do I do as a parent? If you can tell in one line, I think the idea is to identify early, idea is to nurture. And I think if that's done on time, in a well-structured scientific way, we all have potential which can shine. Thank you so much, Sridhar. Thank you so much, Bindu. And special thank you to Sheel. It was lovely interacting with you and also listening to a conversation which came from heart, something which is very visceral, and also learning from your perspective of how things happen. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to the audience. Looking forward to our next interaction. My colleague will share a feedback form. Feedback is at the heart of what we do at EI. So if you can just tell us what do you want to hear about, how did you like this, and anything which we could have done better to aid this conversation. Thank you. We'll be here for another 2-3 minutes where you can scan this QR code and help us with your feedback.